Let me paint the scene for you. We were in Switzerland, Zermatt, to be exact. Snow-covered peaks, fresh alpine air, and a marriage held together with duct tape and denial. The trip was her idea. Let's reconnect, she'd said. Let's go somewhere beautiful and quiet, like we used to. She even picked the place. A little chalet tucked between the Matterhorn and the land of make-believe. To the outside world, we were a golden couple. She wore red scarves like they were a personality trait, and I played the part of the quiet, rugged man with kind eyes and calloused hands. Instagram loved us. Reality, not so much. First red flag? She packed 3 different perfumes for a 4-day trip. You don't need that much scent unless you're trying to cover something or someone. But I didn't say anything. I just watched and filed it away. I was starting to collect details like a man preparing for a trial he didn't know was coming. She laughed a little too loud on the plane, tapped away on her phone like it was oxygen. I glanced once, just a glance, and saw the name Travis Woolface light up her lock screen. I raised an eyebrow. She said, "Work friend." I said, "Okay." That's marriage in a nutshell, knowing when to shut up and when to start digging. I wasn't digging. Not yet. By the second day, we were hiking up a narrow path that overlooked the whole valley. Breathtaking stuff. Picture perfect, actually. She stopped and pulled her phone from her coat. "Can you take a picture of me?" she asked, all teeth and fake innocence. I nodded. She handed it to me, unlocked. Now let me be clear. I wasn't snooping. I didn't press anything. I didn't swipe. I didn't poke or prod. The camera app opened, sure, but it didn't open clean. It launched from the photo gallery. And that's when I saw it. Just beneath the live view of the snowy ridge and her practiced pose, there was a row of thumbnails. Recently taken, recently hidden, and recently, very not of me. My brain froze before my fingers could. 1 photo, 2, 3, her and a man I didn't recognize. In hotel rooms. Cars. Smiling like they'd stolen something and were proud of it. But the last photo? That one was different. It was the 2 of them, side by side, in bed. His arm around her waist. His face smug as sin. And written below the picture was a message in her notes app, attached like a signature to a murder confession. "You will not forget this picture." "No, Travis. I won't. And neither will she. I handed the phone back without saying a word. Took the picture. Framed it just right. The Matterhorn behind her, all majestic and proud. Meanwhile, I was staring at a mountain of betrayal, and it was about to come crashing down. She smiled at me like nothing was wrong. Tilted her head. "You okay?" I smiled back. Perfect. The hike back to the chalet felt like a funeral march. Every step echoed with that message, "You will not forget this picture." Oh, I wouldn't. Not because of what it showed, but because of what it confirmed. She wasn't just cheating on me. She was memorializing it. Like it was a chapter in a scrapbook. Like I was the fool in the footnotes. Now, I could have exploded right there. Thrown the phone off the mountain. Screamed, cried, demanded answers. But I didn't. That's not how I work. No. See, I believe in patience. Precision. If she was going to play games, I was going to write the rules. So I waited. That evening, we went out to dinner in town. She wore that red scarf again. The one she knows I hate. We sat at a candlelit table, pretending to be in love for the Swiss tourist around us. She ordered fondue. I ordered silence. Every time she reached for the bread, I watched the ring on her finger sparkle under the light. She didn't notice the way my eyes tracked her hand like it was a weapon. She didn't know I was counting every move, every lie, every blink. She talked about wanting to take a cable car up the mountain the next day. Said it would be romantic. Said we could take more photos. I said, "Sounds nice." I excused myself halfway through dessert. "Too much cheese," I joked. She laughed, not knowing she was already standing on the edge of a cliff. Back at the chalet, she showered while I sat on the couch, scrolling through her phone. She'd never changed the password. How thoughtful. I wasn't surprised by what I found. What surprised me was how organized it all was. The texts with Travis weren't just flirty. They were tactical. They talked about me like I was an obstacle in a board game. A joke. A burden. They made plans. Shared locations. Even compared me to him like it was a sporting event I never agreed to play in. But the worst part? She wasn't in love with him. No. She was addicted to what he made her feel. Like she was dangerous. Desired. Free. And me? I was the man who did the dishes. Fixed the heater. Took the garbage out. Loved her quietly while she chased loud mistakes. But I wasn't going to confront her. Not yet. I had something better in mind. Tomorrow, we'd take that cable car ride. She wanted altitude? Fine. Let's go high enough to see what the fall looks like. The next morning, she was all sunshine and casual eyes. Sleep better? She asked, pouring coffee like she hadn't been whispering sweet nothings to another man 48 hours ago. I nodded, sipping the brew like it didn't taste like betrayal. We rode the cable car up together. The mountain stretched below us like an open secret. She pressed against the window, snapping pictures, pretending we were a couple on the brink of renewal. When we got to the top, the air was thin, but the tension between us was thicker than ever. She wanted a picture with the mountains in the background, naturally. "Can you take one of me?" she asked, handing me the phone again. I took it, slowly, like a man accepting a weapon. And just like the first time, the gallery opened. Not the camera. The gallery. Except this time, I didn't just glance. This time, I scrolled. There were more photos. Dozens. Different rooms. Different days. Same man. Some showed them laughing. One had her lying on his chest, mid-nap, like she was home. Another had her wearing my hoodie, the navy blue one I thought I lost on a trip 2 months ago. She hadn't lost it. She'd packed it. But the last photo? That one was deliberate. Her and Travis in a hotel bed. He's holding the phone, taking the shot. She's resting her head on his chest. And written over the image in bright white text, "You will not forget this picture." And under it, a little message from Travis. Probably sent right after the photo was taken. Short. Sharp. Surgical. Make sure he sees it. I stared at the screen. Let that sentence sink in. This wasn't an accident. This was a performance. She'd handed me the phone like a stage director handing an actor his script. I looked up at her. She was smiling. Not at me, at the view. And I smiled back. Because now, I had clarity. This wasn't heartbreak. This was war. I didn't confront her at the top of the mountain. That's what she wanted. A dramatic scene. Maybe a shove. A breakdown. Something she could tell Travis about later, how he'd broken me. How she watched me fall apart. Probably imagined it like one of those sad indie movies where the betrayed husband walks off into the snow, disappearing behind a violin solo. But I wasn't giving her that. Instead, I took the photo. Framed it perfectly. She struck a pose like nothing was wrong, because in her mind, nothing was. She had 2 men dancing on strings. One in her bed, one behind the camera. "Let's grab lunch at the lodge," she said as we made our way down the ridge. "They've got this amazing rosti plate, like crispy potatoes and cheese." "I'm not really hungry," I said. She blinked, tilted her head. "You sure? Positive?" I smiled when I said it. We walked in silence for a bit. She kept glancing at me like a scientist watching a subject who's not reacting to the electric shock. I could see it already, the way she started to doubt her grip on the narrative. And that was my first small victory. Back at the chalet, I played my part. Cleaned up. Let her shower. Let her have her wine. Let her believe the photo hadn't landed, like maybe I missed it, or was too stupid to understand what I saw. That night, while she slept like the guiltless, I opened her phone again. This time, I wasn't looking for confirmation. I had that. Now I was looking for names. Dates. Strategy. Travis wasn't just some random guy from a business conference. He was a repeat feature. There were hotel check-ins, ride shares, flights, a pattern. And better yet, there was ego. He wasn't discreet. He left messages like he was writing a diary for a documentary. One even read, "Don't worry. He's a safe man. Safe men don't explode. They disappear." Safe. That word stuck with me. Like I was a seatbelt. A car manual. Something to keep around for structure until it was time to drive off with someone more exciting. I copied everything. Every photo. Every thread. I airdropped it to my locked laptop and backed it up on a drive she didn't know existed. Then I started building a folder titled Truth. I wasn't planning revenge. Not yet. First, I was planning clarity. The next day, she suggested a spa. Something relaxing. "We deserve it," she said. I agreed. I even drove us there. Let her book the couple's massage. Let her lay down on the table beside me while some poor guy kneaded her shoulders like she wasn't carrying a soul full of secrets. "You're so quiet," she whispered between soft music and eucalyptus mist. "Just thinking," I replied. "About." I turned my head slowly. "About how I want to remember this trip." She smiled. Yeah, I said, because I knew I'd never forget it. Not the mountain. Not the lies. Not the way her voice sounded saying my name while texting his. When we got back to the chalet, I suggested we take a few last photos before sunset. She lit up. Always ready for the camera, my wife. The best actress in a one-man show. We walked down to the edge of a cliffside path just above the valley. The view was gorgeous, maybe too gorgeous for what I was about to do. I positioned her just right, the sun dipping behind the peaks, painting her in golden light. She tilted her chin, struck a pose. How's this? I raised the phone. Snap. Then, I lowered it and said, calmly, how long has it been? She blinked. What? Travis. How long? The silence that followed was beautiful. It wasn't shock. It wasn't denial. It was a pause where a lie tried to form and died in the draft. You went through my phone, she said, finally. No guilt. Just that accusatory tone, like I'd trespassed into her secret garden. I nodded. Sure did. That before or after you told him to make sure I saw the photo? Her mouth opened. Closed. I took a step closer. Held the phone out to her. You really thought I'd never scroll down? That I'd just take your picture and hand it back like some fool holding the murder weapon? Logan. You choreographed it. I almost laughed. You handed me your betrayal like a gift. So, thank you. I unwrapped it. She stared at me, stunned, like the real shock was that I wasn't screaming. You've been so cold for so long, she whispered. I didn't know how to fix us. Fix us? I repeated, chuckling. You weren't trying to fix us. You were auditioning replacements. She looked away. The silence that followed was long. Not empty, though. It was full of everything she didn't say. Guilt. Justification. Self-pity. I nodded toward the chalet. Go pack. We leave in the morning. She stiffened. What about? I'll get a separate room in Zurich. You'll fly back alone. Or with him. Whatever you want. She hesitated. Are you going to tell everyone? Not yet. I stepped past her. I'm not here to humiliate you. I'm here to remember. She turned as I walked off. Remember what? She called after me. I paused. Glanced back. The view, I said. That night, she cried in the bathroom. I didn't comfort her. I didn't throw a tantrum. I just stared out at the snow, sipping whiskey, adding another piece to the folder titled Truth. Because if she thought I was just walking away, she hadn't been paying attention. Zurich was rainy the morning we left the chalet. She wore sunglasses on the train, indoors, like shame had a UV index. I didn't ask questions. I didn't offer tissues. I just stared out the window while the alpine scenery bled into gray cities. The silence between us was civil. Sharp around the edges, but civil. When we got to the hotel, I booked 2 rooms. Different floors. Different worlds. She looked at me as I handed her the key card. Logan, are we? We're not talking here, I said. Not in Switzerland. I've got too much respect for the chocolate. She didn't laugh. That was fine. I wasn't joking. Later that night, while she stayed in her room supposedly thinking things through, I booked an early flight. And then I opened my laptop and opened the folder labeled Truth. Inside it were pictures, messages, videos, even a voice note from Travis that made my skin crawl. He had that smugness in his tone. The kind of man who thought sleeping with another man's wife was a personality trait. You're too good for him, Ash. Honestly, I can't believe he hasn't figured it out yet. He's soft, boring, safe, safe. There it was again. That word. Like I was some kind of walking seat cushion with a mortgage. But here's the thing about safe men. We don't rage. We plan. And in the morning, while she sipped her coffee across the hotel lobby pretending to read a travel brochure, I pressed send on 4 emails. 1 to HR at her company. 1 to Travis's wife. Yes, he had one. Bless her clueless heart. 1 to a private investigator, just in case I needed more evidence with timestamps. And 1 to my lawyer, Mark, who specializes in exit strategies with flair. When we landed back home, I didn't go with her. I had arranged for a car to pick me up and drop me at my brother's place. A quiet, empty guest house with working Wi-Fi, clean linens, and none of the perfume that used to smell like loyalty. That night, I sat down with Mark over a bottle of scotch. Adultery clause, I said. Enforceable. Mark smirked. In this state? Not directly. But you can leverage it in the division of assets, especially if you've got proof. I slid the drive across the table. I've got an archive. He plugged it into his laptop. Clicked once. Raised an eyebrow. Oh, he muttered. This isn't proof. This is an art exhibit. The next day, the fallout began. Travis's wife, Sarah, called me in tears. I didn't answer, but I listened to the voicemail. Thank you. I didn't know. I had suspicions, but he told me I was crazy. Thank you for showing me I'm not. You're welcome, Sarah. The truth doesn't set you free, but it does change the locks. HR responded too. Apparently, inter-office affairs, especially ones between a manager and a direct report, violated about 4 different lines in the handbook. Travis was placed under investigation. Ashley too. Suspension pending. I didn't text her. Didn't call. Didn't ask if she got the email. Some men leave the house on fire and look back. I was already buying a better address. Day 3, she showed up at my brother's doorstep. Hair tied back. No makeup. Hoodie. The kind of look people wear to funerals or to beg for a resurrection. Logan, she said. Can we talk? I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. 5 minutes, I said. She looked thinner. Not physically, but emotionally. Like the weight of consequences had started to gnaw. I lost my job, she said. I know. And Travis, his wife, threw him out. I sent her a bottle of wine. Might send her too. Her eyes filled with tears. Why are you doing this? I tilted my head. You mean, why am I not pretending this is salvageable? Why I'm not crying in a motel, listening to Adele, waiting for you to text me back? I made a mistake, she said. No. You made a series of choices. With hotel receipts. And selfies. And scheduling. I didn't mean to fall out of love. I'm not mad you fell out of love, I said. I'm mad you played me while you were busy falling into bed. She flinched. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't call her names. I just let the silence sit between us like a boulder she'd have to lift herself. I don't want it to end like this, she whispered. Then you should have ended it before you handed me your phone. She left, eventually. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't slam the door. Just walked off into the same silence she'd created. That night, I slept better than I had in months. Because for the first time, I wasn't carrying the burden of pretending. A week passed. No texts from her. No calls. But I knew she was watching. She still had access to my public socials. And while I didn't post much before, I started now. Strategically, a photo of me at a rooftop bar with some friends, laughing, drink in hand. Another one at the gym, captioned, "Strength is quiet, but it shows up." Then one at my office, in a sharp suit, staring out the window like I was contemplating the weight of the world or the price of peace. Every image a little billboard for a man rebuilding. Every click she made, I wanted her to feel like she was scrolling through the life she lost. Travis, meanwhile, was sinking. A friend of mine in HR. Yes, I have friends everywhere. Kept me in the loop. He'd been removed from 2 major projects. Internal emails got leaked. Turns out he wasn't just sleeping with my wife. He was falsifying hours on company trips to cover his extracurricular adventures. When people fall, they don't trip. They plummet. And I hadn't even pushed yet. Ashley texted on the 9th day. Can we please talk? Just 1 hour. In person. That's all I'm asking. I didn't answer. But I did respond, indirectly. I posted a picture the next day of a lunch meeting with Sarah. Yes, Travis's wife. Not romantic. Not staged. Just the 2 of us in a sunlit cafe, smiling politely. Caption. Sometimes the people who deserve better end up finding each other. Let the internet chew on that one. Ashley called this time. 5 times. Left 2 voicemails. The first one was restrained. Sad. I saw your post. That's cruel, Logan. The second was sharper. You're trying to hurt me. You're embarrassing me. How can you sink this low? Low. I thought. You gave me your phone like it was a loaded gun. Now you're upset I pulled the trigger? That weekend, I went back to our old house. It was still legally half mine for now. She'd been staying there since I left. But I wasn't there to reclaim anything. I was there to collect a box from the attic. One she forgot about. One I didn't. Inside, yearbooks, cards, wedding photos, her journals, and buried beneath the fluff, a little black notebook. Her dream list, written on the night of our engagement. Things she wanted to do in her life, with me. There were 21 items. I flipped through them slowly. See the northern lights with Logan. Own a house with a red door. Have a son named Miles and teach him guitar. Never lie to each other, not even small lies. I closed the notebook gently. Then I tossed it in the fire pit out back, struck a match, and watched her future curl into ash. Not out of spite. Out of closure. My lawyer, Mark, called Monday morning. You ready to make it official? He asked. Let's file, I said. She's gonna fight for the house, probably spousal support, too. Want to go nuclear, or play it clean? I paused. Let's give her the chance to walk away with dignity. Mark sighed. You're generous. No, I said. I'm just making sure when I burn the bridge, I don't light myself on fire. The papers were served at noon. delivered by a process server I hired personally. Guy's name was Clarence. Former Marine. Built like a vending machine. He handed the envelope to her while she was having brunch on a restaurant patio. She opened it in front of 3 friends. Witnesses. Clarence told me she went pale, then red, then ran to the bathroom and didn't come out for 20 minutes. Later that day, she sent me a single text. You made this public. You humiliated me. I didn't reply, but I did send one message to her sister, the only person in her family who ever liked me. Tell her next time she wants to humiliate someone, maybe don't leave the script lying in her unlocked phone. You see, this wasn't about revenge anymore. This was about balance. She set the fire. I just brought marshmallows. The next phase was precision. I started moving money. Legally. Smartly. Split accounts. Separated finances. Froze anything joint. My paychecks were redirected. My name was removed from the house maintenance contract, utilities, and car insurance. Every little thread that used to tie us together. I snipped it, one clean cut at a time. She texted again. Did you really have to involve everyone? And I stared at that message for a long time. Then finally replied. No, but you did. The moment you told him to take that picture. The moment you smiled while I held the phone. You made me the audience to your betrayal. All I did was build a stage so everyone else could watch the encore. That night, I sat alone in my new place. No photos on the walls yet. No memory traps in the corners. Just silence. But it wasn't empty anymore. It was earned. I poured a glass of bourbon, opened the balcony door, and let the night air roll in. My phone buzzed, another message from her. I didn't open it. Instead, I deleted the thread. Because some conversations don't need closure. They need a headstone. The thing about people like Ashley, they only regret betrayal when it backfires. They don't feel guilt. They feel exposure. After the papers were served, her pride unraveled. Slowly, then all at once. She stopped posting. Stopped pretending. Friends dropped off like autumn leaves, unsure where their loyalties belonged. Turns out when you're the villain and the victim in your own story, people get confused about who to root for. Meanwhile, Travis? Fired. His wife filed her own divorce the same week I did. Rumor has it he's sleeping on a buddy's couch, applying for jobs in other cities, probably other countries. The fallout burned his professional rep so badly, it would have taken FEMA to clean up. As for Ashley, she reached out again. Said she wanted to talk without lawyers. Said she deserved that much. I agreed, on one condition. I'd set the place. My time. My rules. She said okay. I chose the park where we had our engagement photos taken. Petty? A little. Intentional? Absolutely. I was already seated when she arrived. Same bench. Same spot. Different man. She wore black, like she was going to a funeral. Fitting. Hi, she said, sitting slowly. Hey. A beat of silence. She looked tired. Not the kind of tired you fix with sleep. The kind that comes from carrying lies like bricks in your ribcage. I wanted to say sorry, she began. Okay. She blinked. That's it. What do you want me to say? I asked. I'm not here for a Lifetime movie ending. You burned the house down. I left the ashes where they fell. Her voice cracked. I just want you to know I didn't mean for any of this to happen. That line. That one right there. The cheater's anthem. You didn't mean for it. I said. Ashley, you planned it. You scheduled it between nail appointments and Pilates. You posed for it. She looked down, ashamed, or pretending to be. I miss us. No, you miss the version of me that didn't know the truth. She started to cry, and for a second, a flash of the old me wanted to comfort her. The man who bent over backward for her happiness. But he was gone. Buried. Eulogized with every lie she ever whispered to another man. Look, I said. You'll be fine. You'll find someone else to smile for the camera with. Someone who doesn't scroll. I stood up. She grabbed my wrist. Please, just tell me one thing. Did you ever really love me? I leaned in close. Of course I did, I said softly. That's what made the knife hurt. Then I walked away. With the divorce finalized, I kept the house. She walked away with a small settlement. Much smaller than she expected. My lawyer made sure of that. Turns out betrayal makes for excellent leverage. I repainted every room. Removed every trace of her scent, her laughter, her curated chaos. Replaced the couch. Donated the dishes. Burned the bed frame. The first night I slept in my new space, alone, I didn't dream. I just slept. Peacefully. Not because I'd moved on, but because I'd moved through. There's a difference. You don't need revenge when the truth does the heavy lifting. Still, I had one final move. A gift, you could say. I sent Ashley a package. Inside, a printed photo of the one she gave me that day in Switzerland. The one of her and Travis in bed, laughing. Except I had it professionally altered. Now it was just her. Alone. With a new caption. You were right. I'll never forget this picture. A year later, I stood on a beach in Oregon, watching the waves erase footprints like they never existed. A woman I'd been casually seeing stood beside me. Not a replacement. Not a rebound. Just someone who laughed for real. Someone who didn't come with hidden folders and backup plans. She didn't ask about my past. She could tell from the way I carried myself that I'd been through it. And I didn't bring it up. Not because I was hiding it, but because it didn't define me anymore. The betrayal, the humiliation, the crash, it all made me sharper. Clearer. Stronger. Men like me don't shatter. We sharpen. Ashley may have thought she killed the man I was. But all she did was light the fuse on the man I became.